Hey everybody, I'm Alan with the channel currently called Dad's Playing Games. I will be changing the name of the channel soon. You can find information about why the change is happening, and you can also find timestamps for this video if you check the details below. This video is a battle video for the 6th scenario from the Perilous Dark Expansion for my campaign, in which I'm taking a single warband through first the Dark Alchemy and now Perilous Dark scenarios for the first edition of Frostgrave. The 6th scenario is called the Hunting Ground, but before we get to the battle, we're going to go over the rules that make up the scenario. We will look at the state of my wizard's warband, and we'll give a brief story recap showing how the warband got to where they are now. The monsters for this battle are ice spiders, which can be found in the core book Bestiary, and matriarchs. These giant spiders have a number of special rules. Each successful hit from one of these cause the wounded status on their victim, which means they're limited to 1 action per activation, and whenever one of your members lands a hit on one of these creatures, all your units in combat with them will have to make a will roll against a target number of 14 or also be wounded, as the beast's ichor splashes about. These creatures are very nimble in combat, and as such, supporting fighters only add a +1 instead of a +2 fight during melee. They suffer no movement penalties for climbing or traveling over rough terrain. The good thing is, they like to eat their prey alive, so their bite often paralyzes their victims instead of killing them. So members that fall in combat to them get to re-roll their first dead result after the battle. Also, they are large, which means they are easier to hit with shooting attacks. However, you'll notice as you watch the battle that I routinely forgot about this little benefit during my gameplay. This scenario calls for a board that is 30 inches by 30 inches and sparsely littered with a few ruins, with 2 large ruined buildings. However, it doesn't say where exactly those should be placed, so I've got them kind of towards the middle of the battlefield. For story purposes, I'm saying that this is on a large glacier that's slowly melting, so the few large structures have been revealed, and other things have been kind of pushed down the glacier as it has thawed. Climbing over the piles of rocks and the random ruins do count as rough terrain. Climbing over any of the hills and things, those will just count as standard climbing, and of course climbing up the structures as well. This time the warband sets up anywhere along this edge of the board, not just right piled into the middle, and they are trying to get to the exit end, and they cannot leave through the sides of the board. I've placed my ice spiders. It normally calls for 1 in each corner as well as 1 in the midpoint of all of the edges, with the exception of the deployment edge, so 7 of them are on the board. My board is slightly oversized, so I'll be starting everything 2 inches this way and 1 inch in on each side of the board, so that I've got a 30 inch by 30 inch playing surface. It calls for 2 treasure tokens, 1 to be placed on each of the ruined structures. It doesn't say where to place them on the structures, but I'll place 1 there and the other one back there. The reason I've placed them there as opposed to on top of the ruined structures is because it also calls for 1 of the matriarchs to be placed next to each treasure token. And it seemed more fitting to have their nests up underneath some structures rather than sitting up on top of the towers. Another thing I have to deal with in this scenario is there is a snowstorm going on, which will cause a -2 to all shooting attacks, and also limits line of sight to 14 inches. And I thought that that was just for my soldiers, but it actually doesn't say that. So because of that, I'm going to move this over to here, just so that I'm not trapping that spider back there and never being able to see any of my soldiers. And because this is a thawing glacier, at the end of every round I will roll a d20 for each member of my warband, and on a 1 or 2 the ground crumbles around them, and I'll be rolling on a special table to see what happens. If the soldier is anywhere on the 2 large structures, that only happens to them if they roll a 1. And the treasure tokens hidden away in these 2 ruined buildings will not negatively affect the movement of my warband members, and they won't trigger random encounters either. Instead, at the end of every turn, I will roll on a special encounter table to see if anything spawns. In Eirvathon's last battle, he passed 3 levels and upgraded his ability to cast Embed Enchantment, Right Scroll, and Enchanted Arrow. The warband sold some more ground mana worm teeth and a belt of animal repellents, and then hired a captain. This is a special soldier type discussed in the Sellsword and Frostgrave Folio supplements. These soldiers have kind of mediocre stats, however you can increase one of their stats when you hire them. They have 5 total item slots for whatever equipment or magic items you want to give them. They can group activate with 1 soldier that's within 3 inches, and can choose 2 special abilities they can use once per battle. They gain experience points, and as they slowly level up, you can add additional special abilities or health points. They have a drawback though, that any magic items you give them are permanently theirs, and you can't swap them around between battles like you can with your other soldiers and your spellcasters. Plus, on top of the 100 gold crowns they cost to initially hire, you have to give them 10% plus 1% per their level of all the gold crowns you gain from battles or from selling things, making them very expensive over the course of a campaign. I honestly don't feel they're worth their cost, but I wanted to hire a captain anyway just for variety and thematic purposes. I increased my captain's fight stat by +1 and gave him the abilities Steady Hand and Leadership. He's carrying a crossbow, a shield, and I gave him my fight +2 sword. He's technically wearing mail armor for game mechanic purposes, but to fit his miniature, I'm saying he's wearing a powerful suit of light armor, giving him the armor bonus of mail armor, but the reason for his move stat being reduced to 5 is because he has a peg leg. The enchanter Eirvathon begins this scenario at level 23 with 2, 3, 4, 5 experience points and with 295 gold crowns in his vault. Having sneaked their way past magic-lusting mana worms, some territorial gorillas, and a hungry bearcat, the warband made it through the crowded pathways and crumbling ruins that make up the Warrens, with just 1 casualty. As they continued on, the snow got higher and higher until just the tops of the tallest buildings lay uncovered by a slowly thawing glacier that filled the canyon that they were traversing through. With the thawing came crevasses and deep chasms, some obvious and some that crumbled open as the warband approached. Travel was slow, however, a cold front and snowstorm moved in, and while it became more difficult to see, it helped freeze and secure their footing somewhat. However, it wasn't long after that a large black creature erupted out of a weak spot in the glacier and came right at Eirvathon. However, just as quickly, a crossbow bolt came from somewhere and gave the beast a quick death. A grizzled warrior appeared from the curtain of snow and told Eirvathon that the melting of the snow had thawed some huge, ancient spiders that he called Matriarchs, and these beasts were ready to eat after their long hibernation. He told Eirvathon he'd show the warband the way through, but they would need to be careful of cave-ins due to tunneling the arachnids were doing just below the snowy surface. I've randomly determined I will be using the white die for myself and the gray die for the enemy. And we'll go ahead and cast our before game spells, starting with Brew Potion, Eirvathon on a 14, failure, and Jadis on a 14 with a -2. He also failed. Next, Reveal Secret. We'll start with having Jadis try to cast that on a 16 with a -2, failure, and Eirvathon on a 16, failure. He will use his Scroll of Reveal Secret to successfully cast that. Next, we'll try to make an Enchanted Soldier. Eirvathon on an 11, success. For this battle, these spellcasters will be gathering ice and rock to form little ice rock enchanted soldiers. My warband is all set up here over on this edge. I have brought them in 2 inches from the edge because my board is slightly oversized. But we've got Skyla the Templar over here. I'll give her her helmet shortly. But she's got the Barbarian's Blade, which helps her fight when she's by herself. Deathstriker the Hound. Darrow the Ranger. Pierre, the treasure hunter. He no longer has his sword +2, but he's got a sword +1 that he found in the last battle. Jadis the apprentice, my barbarian who has my potion of teleportation that I'd made in the last battle. My new captain, and he is carrying now my sword +2. We've got the master thief carrying a enchanted weapon +1 that he found in the last battle. Eirvathon the enchanter, Bronth the knight carrying the reaver's blade, an infantryman, the recruit, my tracker Grayson, who's got the bow +1, and my enchanted soldier ready to take one for the team against that spider. I've also placed my revealed secret treasure right there within 6 inches of my deployment zone. My strategy is to divide and conquer, send half my team at that treasure, half my team at that treasure, and see if I can get all these treasures off the board without too many soldiers crumbling into the glacier, and we'll see what happens. I'll start with having Eirvathon move up 6 inches to right here. Then he will attempt to cast Strength back here on the Barbarian. This casts on a 7. Success. And my buffed up Barbarian, I forgot to mention at the start that I've named him Tholg the Barbarian. Jadis will now run up here on a single move, and then he will attempt to cast Strength on Pierre. On a 7 with a -2, 17, success. Now for the monster phase, starting with the Matriarchs, since they have the highest health, they will move randomly. So this one here, his random move will actually just simply put him back against the wall there. So he will do that and then end his turn. And for the Matriarch in the other tower, his random move will send him against this wall and end his turn there. He still cannot see any members of my warband. For the ice spiders, we'll start with having this one come over and attack Skyla. Skyla is beyond 8 inches from any of her teammates, so she gets the extra bonuses from her sword. Skyla is a fight +5 against fight +0 for the ice spider. Alright, she gets an 18 against 11, so that's an 18 with a +3 modifier because of her distance. Against 8 armor, that is 11 damage. That thing is definitely destroyed. I will remove them from the board because they're a little hard to tell if they're right set up or not. Then over to the other side, this one here, on a single move, can only get to about here, so then it'll do its second move into combat with my enchanted ice rock monster. Now the other 5 ice spiders are all beyond 14 inches from any of my warband members. They will all move randomly. My random roll has this one going into the wall and that one also going into the wall, so they will stay where they are. This one down here in the middle will move 6 move units up to here, and it's still too far to see anybody, so its turn is over. And on this end of the board, that one will randomly move just into the edge of the board, so it does nothing. And this one here, after remeasuring, I realized he actually is just barely in range of Skyla, so he will move this way. It will move down here to right there, and Skyla, seeing that spider, will quickly put on her helmet. For my soldier phase, I will start with having Grayson the tracker run over here. And from right there, he is within 14 inches of that ice spider, so he will fire an arrow. He's normally a +3 with his enchanted bow, but all shooting attacks are -1, so he's a +1. And the spider is normally a +0, but Grayson moved, so he's a 1 also. The shot is a 10 against 6. Ice spiders have 8 defense, so that is 2 damage on that ice spider. It's down to 2. Continuing on the theme of combat, we will have Skyla run over here on a single move and attack the ice spider there. +5 against +0. Critical hit. That spider is defeated as well. Next, I'll have my infantryman. The recruit will run up here on a double move. And Bronth will come this way. Darrow, the ranger, can reach this treasure on a single move, so he will come up to it and pick that up. Again, no random monsters spawn. The captain will double move right up here. A little slow because of his peg leg. Thulg the Barbarian will run up to right here on a double move. The Master Thief will come over here to support the tracker if needed. Pierre will double move up here in front of Thulg. And Death Striker will just come up here kind of right there. And my Enchanted Soldier will just sit there in combat with that spider. Now at the end of the round, we'll roll to see if the ground crumbles away beneath the feet of any of my Warband members. To do that, I will start by just rolling for each member of my Warband to see if it happens, and then we'll roll to see what happens. So on a 1 to 2, this happens, starting with Eirvathon. Yes. Jadis. No. The Captain. Yes. Pierre. No. The Master Thief. No. Bronth. 7. No. Darrow. No. Skyla. Not quite. Thulg. Barbarian. Nope. Grayson. Nope. Death Striker. Nope. The Recruit. Rerolling. Nope. And the Enchanted Soldier. Nope. Now I'll roll the d20 to see what happens. This is for Eirvathon. 14. Alright, so on a 14, the figure must make an immediate move roll with a target number of 18. If he fails, he sinks into a sinkhole and can take no actions during his next activation. After that, he's free to act as normal. Move roll is a d20 plus his move, so his move is 6. 20. That is more than 18, so he is fine. Now to see what happens to the Captain. He got a 9. 9 is the same thing. Let's see if he makes that move roll with his peg leg. He only has a +5 to this. But he got a 20, so even with his peg leg, he's able to avoid that pitfall. And then we roll to see if a monster spawns. We got an 18. That's not good. 18 is place a Matriarch in a random table corner. Corners 1, 2, 3, and 4 over here. 1. So that will put this Matriarch way down here. I was hoping it'd end up closer because I only have 3 of those made, and hopefully I can get rid of some so that I can spawn some more if needed. Since Eirvathon wasn't hindered by that crumbling glacier, he will activate with Bronth, and he will start by moving right over here. And from there, he will attempt to cast Strength on Bronth. Casting on a 7. He'll empower that for 2. And then Bronth, since his speed isn't restricted because of that Reaver's Blade, he will run up these stairs, which are just normal movement, and run right over here to this corner. He was able to stay more than an inch away from that Matriarch, so it couldn't engage him. Now for Jadis, he will activate with the Barbarian, and first he will run over here up against that terrain, and he will cast Enchant Weapon on the Barbarian's Blade. Barbarian's Sword, not the Barbarian's Blade that she's carrying. Casting on a 7 with a -2. That works. Then the Barbarian will drink his Potion of Teleportation and warp himself right up here to draw out that Matriarch. And with it being the creature phase, I guess we'll go ahead and have this gray Matriarch run out here onto this catwalk and attack. The Matriarch has a fight +3 against my fight +7 with Strength and Enchant Weapon. I got a 20 and it got a 19, so I win that. And that is +2 damage. They have an armor of 12, so that is 10 damage. It has 6 health left. And with that, the ichor, or the blood that splashes out of that spider, can potentially wound my Barbarian. To resist it, I need a will roll with a target of 14, and my Barbarian has a +3 to his roll. Alright, he gets a 15, so he is not wounded. And then the Barbarian will push this thing back an inch. Over here in this other ruined building, this Matriarch in here will come out of hiding and attack Bronth the Knight. Bronth has Strength cast on him, so he is a +6 against +3. Critical hit. That's a 26. The Reaver's Blade does +2 damage. That would be 16 even before the double damage, so it is defeated. We'll see if Bronth gets splashed by the Ichor. He gets a +1. He gets a 6 against 14, so he is wounded by that splash of blood. But this thing is destroyed. The Matriarch down here cannot see anyone, so it will randomly move this way. Now for the Ice Spiders, I was setting up these guys to have the Ice Spider come this way, but Bronth is barely closer. Now the Ice Spiders are affected by terrain, unlike the Matriarchs, but it can climb up here and get to right about here. It can't actually snap into, get close enough to get into combat, and I'll go ahead and snap myself into combat though. Before I forget about this one, we'll have it attack my enchanted rock monster. Epic battle of +0 against +0. It wins with a 4. And that 4 does not get past my armor, but even though it won, the Ice Spiders only poison my soldiers if they inflict damage. So my enchanted soldier is fine. Then we have 3 Ice Spiders back here. For their random directions, this one will run this way, right up here next to the Matriarch. This one in the middle will run over here to these ruins. And that one will actually stay right where it is. None of those could see any of my figures. For my soldier phase, starting with my captain, he is going to fire an arrow at this Matriarch. He's got a pretty clear shot there. He normally only has a shoot +1, but I will use his steady hand ability, which gives him a +3 for one shot. And there's the snow falling, so he gets a -2. So in all, he gets a +2 against a +3 fight. 12 against 16. So that crossbow bolt misses, and he is now carrying an empty crossbow. He will then run up here on a single move. And Darrow, the ranger, will now take a shot. He'll be a +0 because of the snow against +3. It's a 14 against 17, so that arrow misses. Then carrying his treasure, he'll run up here behind the captain. Over here, Skyla will double move up here. Next, Pierre will run through here into the middle here, and he will actually start climbing. He'll get about 1 movement unit up this wall. Next, we'll have the Master Thief run up these stairs. He can get right up to the top here on a double move. Then Grayson will double move over here. The infantryman will run up here on a double move. And Death Striker will join him. Once again, the enchanted soldier will just stay in combat with that spider. End of the round, we'll see who gets affected by the crumbling ground, starting with Eirvathon. Nope. And Jadis. Nope. The captain. Nope. Over here, Pierre. Nope. The Master Thief. Nope. Bronth. Nope. Darrow the Ranger. Nope. Skyla. Nope. Tholg the Barbarian. Nope. Grayson. Nope. Death Striker. Nope. The Recruit. Nope. And the Enchanted Soldier. No. So apparently the ice storms are keeping the glacier intact quite well. We'll see what spawns at the end of the round. 10. Alright, 10 gives us an ice spider in a random corner. Shows up in corner number 3. Okay, an ice spider shows up right down there. For Eirvathon, he will run up here behind the infantryman. And he will cast Strength on the Recruit's Battle Axe. Casting on a 7. He'll empower that one for 2 also. For Jadis, he will activate with the captain and Darrow. And the captain will activate first by reloading his crossbow and then firing. Because of the snow, he's a -1 against a +3. And that's not going to do anything. Next, Darrow will attempt his luck, and he will attack with a +0 because of the snow against +3. That also fails. He didn't have to reload, so he will run over here by this group in the middle. And now Jadis is going to get serious and attempt a enchanted arrow at that. He now casts on a 7 with a -2. That would be a 4. He will empower that for 3 to make that successful. Because of the snowstorm, this is now a +6 against +3. 22. That is enough to take that out. We'll just say it knocks this thing clear off. Jadis will then climb up on top of this. For the enemy phase, starting with the only Matriarch on the board, it will run down here on a double move because it can see this, it can just barely see the recruit. And then this Ice Spider will follow. This Ice Spider would do the same thing, assuming it tries to avoid the rough terrain, can get to right there on a double move. This one in the corner can see Skyla down here. It will move up to right about there. And then the one down there in the corner, I can't see anybody. I rolled for its random movement and it is just going to run into the wall there, so it will stay where it's at. And now for the spiders in combat, we will have this one attack the Enchanted Soldier, +0 against +0. Alright, my Enchanted Soldier got a 13. That is 5 damage, which is enough to take out that Ice Spider. And then we will have this one over here on the stairs attack Bronth. Bronth is a +6 with strength against +0, 10 against 17. He has an armor of 13, so that is 4 damage. And Bronth was already wounded from the splash from the Matriarch, so I don't have to roll to see if he gets poisoned. And now for my soldier phase, starting with this Enchanted Soldier before I forget about him. He can double move right up to here. We'll actually have him come this way. The Barbarian up here on the catwalk can knock Pierre over and the catwalk and can get just close enough to pick up that treasure that's in there. And after the catwalk miraculously reattaches, Pierre will get up off the ground and double move over to here. Skyla will double move down here. Over here, the Master Thief will run back here and pick up this treasure. We'll just kind of lay him down back there. Then we'll have Grayson run up to also engage this spider. And he will just sit there, and then Bronth will attack with support. He's a +8 now against +0. 9 against 5. He won. The Reaver's Blade does +2 damage. So that would be only 3 damage, but that spider was already shot with an arrow, so it dies. End of the round, we'll see if any of the Glacier crumbles this time, starting with Eirvathon. Nope. Jadis, nope. The Captain, nope. Up here to Pierre, nope. The Master Thief, nope. Bronth, 7, nope. Darrow, yes. Skyla, nope. Thulg, nope. Grayson, nope. Death Striker, nope. The Recruit, nope. And the Enchanted Soldier, no. Roll to see what happens to Darrow. 12. All right, on a 12 to 22, we'll be placing a marker where he was standing. He's going to be removed from the board and placed in a separate area where there will be an Ice Spider. And it looks like he's going to have to kill that Ice Spider to get out of there. All right, so the ground crumbles away underneath Darrow's feet. That will mark where he was. Unfortunately, he's my treasure carrier. And he falls into this 6x6 pit with this spider. Rolling for end of round encounter, 7. That's another ice spider in a random corner, corner number 4. He will pop up right down here. For my turn now, Eirvathon will activate with the Infantryman and with Death Striker. And the Infantryman will run over here and attack that ice spider. The recruit has a fight of +5 because he's got strength on him against +0. That is a 10, but that is a 1. So that hits +2 damage, makes it 4 damage, which kills that spider. Next, Eirvathon has a straight shot at the Matriarch, so he will attempt an enchanted arrow. Casting on a 7, success. Because of the snowstorm, it's a +6 against +3. It's only a 9 against 8, so that is successful, but doesn't get past the armor. And Eirvathon will choose to just stay where he is. Next, I will have Death Striker come over and actually jump into the pit. The rules say he can show up anywhere inside this pit, so he will pop up right here, so that he'll be closer to the spider. Now, Jadis will activate with the captain and with Pierre, and he will start out by trying an enchanted arrow at the Matriarch. Casting on a 7 with a -2, that's only a 2. He'll empower that for 5. +6 against +3. 21 against 14. Against 12 armor, that's 9 damage. Next, the captain with his unloaded crossbow will run over here on a double move in front of Eirvathon. Then Pierre will double move into combat with this Matriarch. Now for the creature phase, the Matriarch will go first and it will attack Pierre. Pierre's at a +7 with his sword +1 and strength against +3. All right, that's a 22 against 6. That is a hit. That is 10 damage. It only had 7 health left, so it is defeated. Then we'll see if its Ichor splashes onto Pierre. Against a target number 14, he has a +2. Checking to make sure the die finished rolling. An 18 with +2 is a 20. He is fine. Then, since Pierre is the closest target to this spider, it will run over and engage him and attack. Pierre is +6 against +0. Pierre gets hit. It's a 13. That is 2 damage. So Pierre is poisoned. He'll lose an action for the rest of the game. Over to here, this spider can move right up behind Skyla. If Skyla had a base, it would be in contact, so we'll let it go ahead and attack. It's a +0 against +5 attack. I got a 22, it's defeated. And then this one down here will run towards her. And can get to right about there on a double move. The new one that popped up down here, kind of same thing to the one by Skyla. If this enchanted soldier had a base, it would be in contact there, so they are engaged. And finally, we go over here to the sideboard, and this spider can run up and engage Death Striker. And attack, +0 spider, +1 for Death Striker. Death Striker 1, but no damage. He will stay in combat though. For the soldier phase, we'll just go ahead and have Darrow run over here and engage the spider. He'll attack with support, +2 against +0. Darrow gets a 21 against 17. That is a hit. That is a dead spider. And those two will be free to climb out of there on their next turn. Back to the main board. Before I forget about it, the Master Thief is in here. He'd picked up that treasure. And he can run down these stairs and end up over here since he's not slowed down in this scenario. Bring his treasure with him. Bronth, being poisoned, can run down here right up next to the Master Thief. Grayson will run down these stairs over to here on a double move. Over to this tower, the barbarian carrying his treasure can run out of there. He's going to hop down here, and then he can get close to this spider, close enough that the spider will snap into combat with him. If you watched my last battle, you'll know that I was getting a rule wrong there with snapping into combat. And his treasure will come with him. Then Skyla will run over and attack with support. She's now a +7 against +0. She defeats that thing. Another spider down. At this point, I might as well just have my enchanted soldier attack this spider. +0 against +0. It wins. He's got an armor of 12, so that's 3 damage. And the undead actually can't get poisoned, so he just takes 3 damage. Now for the end of the round, we'll roll for treacherous ground. One thing to note is if anyone is down in a pit, they do not have to roll for this. Eirvathon, nope. Jadis, nope. The captain, yes. Pierre, yes. The master thief, no. The knight, Bronth, nope. Darrow, the ranger, is down below. Skyla, nope. Grayson, yes. Deathstriker is down below. The recruit, no. And the enchanted soldier, no. I forgot to roll for Thulg the barbarian, no. See what happens to my soldiers, starting with the captain. 14. He is going to fall into a pit with a spider. Pierre, 9. He needs to make a move roll against target number 18. So we'll do that. He gets a +7. 22, he succeeds. And Grayson the tracker, 12. He also falls into a pit. So the captain falls in. And Grayson falls in. So the captain is down in a pit, and so is Grayson. And they've got spiders to deal with. Speaking of spiders, let's see if anything spawns. A 15. 15 is place an ice spider 3 inches away from a random warband member in a random direction. Doesn't say this can't affect soldiers down in pits, so we've got the characters numbered 1 through 10. We'll go 11 for Eirvathon, 12 for Jadis, 13 for the captain. 3. 3 is Bronth. Rolling a random direction, it pops up right here. Crawls out from under the stairs. For my turn, I'll have Jadis cast Enchant Weapon on the recruit's battle axe. He casts this on a 7. Success. Then he will run up here on a single move. Then I'll have Jadis double move off this rock, climbing down, coming over here by Eirvathon. And for the creature phase, we'll have this spider run up and attack Bronth. I never used the wounded rules, so I forgot that it also causes a -2 to all their die rolls. So we'll do that going forward. So Bronth is a +3 against +0. 9 to 7, so he wins that. His Reaver Blade deals +2 damage, so that is 3 damage on that spider. Next, we'll have this one attack my Enchanted Soldier. +0 against +0. It just destroyed my Enchanted Soldier. And it can't see anybody, so it's going to move randomly. And its random move puts it back down over here. Over to here, Pierre is going to get attacked. Pierre is also wounded, so he's a +3 against +0. He got a 7 against a 6, so he did win. No damage, though. And down into these pits, these spiders can double move into combat with my soldiers. And actually, a single move can put it within an inch, so then I will snap into combat with it, so that it will actually fight me this turn. Starting here with Grayson, he's a +2 against +0. All right, 16 does do -1 damage because of a staff, but that's still enough to defeat it. And same thing over here for the captain. Let's see if the captain can finally defeat an enemy. He snaps into combat. He's a +5 with his sword +2. Gets a 21, takes one out. Gaining some extra experience. And now for the soldier phase, any soldier in one of these pits, if there's no enemies in there, they can use 5 movement units to climb out from where they were. So we'll start with Darrow and Death Striker climbing out. They were in this pit here, so on a double move, Darrow would still have 5.5 inches left, which would put him right there with his treasure, and Death Striker will come over here to support the treasure hunter. The captain would climb out and come right to the edge of this pit, and then he can move 2.5 right there. And Grayson can climb out, which puts him there, and he can move 5.5 over to here, this way instead, to right there. Over to here, these two heavy hitters, the Barbarian Thulg can move right over by the edge, but can't quite get off. He's carrying his treasure, and Skyla will follow him to right there. Here in the middle, the recruit will come over with his strength and his enchanted weapon and attack with double support on that spider, giving him a total of +11 against +0, 23 against 18. That is dead. And then Pierre, being limited to just 1 action, will just move 7 move units over to here. And over here, the treasure-carrying Master Thief will come over here and attack this spider with support. He's a +7 against +0. 17, that is defeated. And then Bronth, being wounded, will move 6 inches up to here. Alright, now to end of round events. No one is down in a pit anymore, so Eirvathon, nothing. Jadis, nothing. The captain, nothing. Pierre, nothing. The Master Thief, ooh, that was close. Bronth, nothing. Darrow, nothing. Skyla, nothing. Thulg, nothing. Grayson, Death Striker. The recruit, nope, and the enchanted soldier is no longer there. We'll see what spawns. 16. Another matriarch will appear in corner number 1. We'll just snag this guy because he looks the most like a spider, and he will show up right there. For this round, Eirvathon will activate with Darrow and with Death Striker. And he'll start out by running right over here. And from there he has a clear shot at this matriarch, so he will fire an enchanted arrow. Casting on a 7. He will empower that for 3. And this is a +6 against +1. I'll remember this is a large creature, so he gets a -2 to his roll, +1 total. Alright, my 23 against its 1. That is 11 damage. Then Darrow will run over here, right there, and fire an arrow. Because of the snow, he's a +0 against +3, +1 because he's large. Alright, so that is 2 more damage. It's still alive though. It goes down to 3. And then Death Striker. He took out that ogre a few battles back, so he will run over here to protect Grayson. And Jadis will activate by himself, and he will cast Strength on Death Striker. He's got a view of him there. On a 7 with a -2. Success. Then he will run over here to the other side of Pierre. Now to see what Death Striker can do. This thing will move into combat with him and attack. It's a +3 against +3. Alright, Death Striker gets 22 against 5. That thing only had 3 health left, so Death Striker lives up to his name again. And this lonely spider down here that can't see anybody randomly moves this way and ends its turn. Now to the soldier phase. Bronth is able to get just to the edge, but not quite off. The Master Thief can get right up behind him. Grayson can run off the board. The Recruit can run over right behind Jadis here. Pierre on a single move can run off the board. The Captain on a double move can move right up to here. These two can run off the board, securing a treasure. And we come to the end of the round with about half my troops still on the board and just this one spider over here. We'll see who's affected by crumbling ground, starting with Eirvathon. Nope. Jadis. No. The Captain. No. Pierre is gone. The Master Thief. No. Bronth the Knight. No. Darrow the Ranger. No. Skyla is gone. Thulg is gone. Grayson is gone. Death Striker. No. And the Recruit. No. For monster appearance, 18. So another Matriarch appears in corner number 2. Let's grab this one. It will show up down here. For my turn, I'm just going to warp ahead here a little bit because Eirvathon would be able to activate with Darrow, and they'd be able to climb over this and run off the board. Jadis could activate with both these two and run off the board. The Matriarch would move randomly, actually, and then these two could get off the board. This spider would also move randomly, so we're just going to have my team run off the board here and secure these last 2 treasures. Well, I think this was my most decided victory. My only fallen soldier for the entire game was my enchanted soldier, so I don't need to roll for any survival rolls. And we recovered 3 treasures. So we'll roll first for the Perilous Dark treasure table. A 1. A 1 is an orb plinth, which lets me potentially recharge orbs of power, or I can sell it for half price there. And for my 2 treasures off the standard Frostgrave treasure table, a 12 and a 12. So my 12s are 60 gold crowns and magic items. My 2 magic items are 18 and 9. The 9 is a Ring of Will and the 18 is a Fate Stone. The Fate Stone looks like it could be useful. Lets me re-roll and use the better of 2 rolls. The Ring of Will just gives my character +1 will, so that will probably get sold. Now for after game spells, we'll start with Eirvathon casting Right Scroll on an 11. Successful, he will make a scroll of Reveal Secret, and Jadis also on an 11 with a -2. He fails. Next we'll try Embed Enchantment. I have a enchantment active on the Barbarian's 2-handed sword and on the Recruit's 2-handed axe. We'll start with the Barbarian's sword there. That's Eirvathon on a 7, that's successful, and Jadis on a 7 with a -2. Failure, so the Recruit's axe does not get enchanted. As well as finding that orb plinth, the Ring of Will, the Fate Stone, creating a scroll of Reveal Secret and a 2-handed weapon of Fight +1, and locating 120 gold crowns. For experience points, Eirvathon gained the maximum of 40 for defeating a bunch of spiders, 40 for defeating 4 matriarchs, 120 for recovering 3 treasure tokens, 110 for 11 successful spells cast, and 180 for all 12 members of the warband surviving, for a total of 490 experience points, but I'll be capping that at 300. My captain gained 30 experience points, 10 each for appearing in battle, surviving the battle, and defeating 1 enemy. 12 gold crowns plus 10% of anything I sell will be going to him. My warband did amazing in this battle, and I think this could be the first time in a Frostgrave game that I've played where I haven't had to make any survival rolls at the end of the battle. During the battle, even though I forgot about the penalty that the Matriarchs have against shooting attacks, I don't think that it really affected anything. I think most of my shooting rolls, the die ranges were far enough apart that it wouldn't have really made any difference if I'd remembered or not. But even still, my shooting attacks just didn't seem to be as effective as I had hoped they would be for this battle. And it seemed where things really shined was when I had buffed up melee soldiers that just ran in there and took the Matriarchs out quite handily, actually. The reduced line of sight specific to this scenario of 14 inches, I think actually ended up benefiting me more than hindering me, because as near as I can tell, it affects the enemy as well. So they ended up just kind of moving randomly, mostly into the corners, the edges of the table, and so that wasn't too big of a problem for my warband. The treacherous ground mechanic I thought was actually pretty fun. I don't think I ever rolled for the shooting attack that could happen with that, the idea that something just kind of crumbles on and falls on your member. And I got really lucky with the move rolls. I never ended up having any of my soldiers lose their activation from that. And I thought that the third thing that could happen, where they actually fall down into a pit and you take your soldier into like a little side battle, I thought that was really innovative. And the fact that there was a chance that a treasure could end up in there, even though I didn't roll that effect, I think that was kind of neat. It's always neat when there's risk, but there's also reward with some of the things that randomly happen on the battlefield. Once again, I maxed out my experience points. I found some items that I'll probably sell, but I do need to keep in mind that my captain is going to take his share of whatever proceeds I get from that. The Fate Stone I found, I think will actually be kind of interesting, and I'm excited to give that to either my captain or one of my spellcasters. And of course I will make use of that magical two-handed sword that I created. For strategy tips, one thing that sets this scenario apart from the first 5 scenarios anyway from this expansion is the fact that the usual strategy of grouping your soldiers together to add support doesn't work all the time in this scenario. The Matriarchs have a built-in ability where if you team up on them, there could be some splash damage that could wound multiple soldiers at the same time. So you kind of want to just send one guy in. And also the fact that those pits can open up, bringing your soldiers off the board, mean that some of your soldiers that you usually never have anywhere near melee, like maybe your apprentice, could end up down in a pit forced with a one-on-one battle. But do keep in mind that you can send other soldiers down into that pit. So if you do have a really unfortunate soldier in there, or maybe your treasure carrier is down there and you don't want to lose that treasure, you can send another soldier down to help out and add some support. Even though my ranged attacks didn't do as well as I'd hoped they would, I would still strongly recommend that strategy to try to shoot down the Matriarchs before they can get close. That way you don't have to deal with the fact that you can't add as much of a support bonus, and you won't get that splash damage when their Ichor splashes all about as you slash them apart. And if those ranged attacks don't actually finish off the Matriarchs, being able to buff up a single soldier with either by purchasing some magical equipment before the battle, or if you've got some buffing spells, being able to go one-on-one with the Matriarch is a really good strategy so that you don't end up with a whole pile of soldiers that are wounded and just being able to move only half as much as they normally would. So let me know in the comments below what your thoughts were on this video or what your experiences have been with this scenario. And be sure to check out the video for the next battle, which will be the Doorway. We want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to add a like or a comment below, or subscribe so you can keep up with all the content we're releasing. And with that, I'm Alan with Dad's Playing Games, and we'll see you on the next video.